Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special edition of Litter Media Live. I'm your host, Mike Smith, and joining us today from the Ross County Fairboard, longtime friends, Sandy Free and Gary Prater, here to talk about the Ross County Agricultural Society's Commercial Events Center proposal. And you might remember about a year ago, that was a big news story that was on littermedia.com and other area media. Well, they're here to talk about that again and kind of get that jump started in people's minds that they're still trying to raise the necessary funds for it. Our interview today is brought to you by Hometown Motors Incorporated. Back with Sandy and Gary right after this.
Big yards, small yards, hilly yards, silly yards. Every yard is unique, and every yard, no matter how much you love it, can be uniquely frustrating to mow. That's why Country Clipper is designed to tackle any obstacle imaginable. It's the perfect mower for even the most imperfect yard. Country Clipper, engineered for easy.
Sandy Free and Gary Prater of the Ross County Fairboard joining us. Guys, welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Thanks for
Mike.
having us.
It's been a while since I've seen some of you guys. Mm-hmm. This is, as we said, something that was announced about a year or so ago. People watching in can go back to our website story at littermedia.com and go through the archives, and you can find that. But to have you in to remind people that you're still taking donations, pledges, whatever, to try to get this thing off the ground.
Yes. And just to let everyone know, on the Fairboard, I represent Buckskin Township, and Gary?
Jefferson.
Jefferson. And the way this all started, I got on the Fairboard, and I was just learning about what was happening, and I said, how are things going with the old commercial building? And they said, well, it's there and needs some help. Would you like to take it? And I said, sure. So as sweet as Gary is, he said he would be on the committee with me, along with Guy McCorkle and Peggy Gray. Mm-hmm. And so we formed our committee, and to let everyone know, we had one meeting and COVID hit. Mm-hmm. So things kind of went at a standstill. But the building was built in around 1945, and so that way you know about how old it is. We still use it, but we have had several meetings and are happy to announce that we're ready to keep raising money and try to get this off the ground at least by 2025 if possible. So we are needing a lot of people to sponsor, which we have had a lot of nice businesses give us money. And we've met with an architect, and we have the plans, a beautiful rendering, and we're just excited about what's coming.
This is Gary, a 20,000 square foot facility proposed, approximately $4 million to build. And of course, we've had a artist rendering that already has come up on the screen. But for those of you that are listening on Litter Media Radio, you can't see that. This is comparable to what maybe people would see up at the Heritage Hall at the Pickaway County Fairgrounds, only this would be bigger.
That's correct. It'll be bigger, and it'll be a lot more versatile. We're having some portable stages put in it, and for concerts, indoor concerts, and having it arranged so that we can have boat shows and camper shows and a lot of different things to bring to the community. The Visitors and Convention Bureau has had a lot of conventions that we just don't have room for here in Chillicothe and Ross County. So we think this will help them out a whole bunch.
And those things that you mentioned, Gary, those kind of events, that brings money not only into the fairgrounds, it brings money into our community. Absolutely.
The name of the game is our fairgrounds is going to be used to put heads in beds and people in the restaurant seats.
Right.
Because that helps our whole community, helps individual workers and tips, and especially since there's not going to be any income tax on tips, now it ought to really help Ross County.
You're keeping your fingers crossed on that promise. We were chatting before we went on the air. Dan and I, Ramey, did that radio show on WBEX for so many years, and I'm going back maybe 25, 30 years, when we used to refer to the Ross County Fair during that fair week, the attendance out there, the people that were staying out there, as the second largest city in Ross County during the fair. Well, you were just telling me that 86,000 was the attendance probably this past year, and maybe up to 40,000 were living. So that makes it even bigger than Chillicothe.
Correct. It's a huge city, and we're getting the infrastructure and that kind of thing, constantly upgrading it. Like I said, this is just one of our big projects, but we've got an excellent president right now who really pushes things, and we just reelected him. That's Brad Cosenza, and he has been a tremendous asset to us.
Staying on that, that theme, we talked about things in the off season of the fair that this event center could be used for. During the fair, how would it be used?
As a commercial building during the fair. Yeah.
But it would have more than one floor? Were you talking about that?
No, it's going to be the same length, 20,000 square feet, same length as the old commercial building, but double in width. Okay. So we can put more people and vendors in the building. And it will be air conditioned and heated, and that's what they really, really want. And I don't blame them. It's hot. Yeah. And they want a nice building, and we're here to build it for them and have everything ready, and we just need more money to do it. But, RV and boat shows we've talked about. We used to have a home and garden show that was huge, and it was in April, and they about froze to death. So they say, we'll be back if you'll build the building. Corporate meetings, we'd love to get people back face-to-face for big meetings. Campers, we have our campgrounds, of course, with 1,493 spots, and we can have a lot of campers come in for some of these events. We have the Airstream International that has already contacted us that would like to come, and like I said, the home and garden shows, dog shows, reunions, ATV shows. There's just a lot of people that want to come. We just have to get the building up so that we can house them and greet them at our beautiful fairgrounds.
People that have lived here all their lives, I think so many times, we've talked about this over the years, you forget what you've got. Again, before we went on the air, I was telling you about a young man that moved here with his family from Alabama back in the 80s. And at that time, he said, the Ross County Fair is bigger than the Alabama State Fair. When you think of all of the intersecting highways that come into our community, the groups that you're talking about that want to come here, it's an easy drive to get here. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Why wouldn't we do something like this?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And now, Mike, we have the hotels and motels to accommodate the people, where that was a strangling point for a few years early on. Mm-hmm. And when I talk early on, I've been on the board almost 40 years, and the changes out there and to the community is just unbelievable.
Right. And with now the UNESCO, with the mound builders gatherings of people all over the world, wow, if you've got that kind of people coming in to see those things, if you've got an event, there's a plethora of things. I'm using that word today, Sandy, plethora of things that people can do while they're here.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now, Sandy, did you want to mention or just talk about your website where all this information can be found?
Yes, I did want to put a little plug in here to let people know that we also will be doing weddings, receptions, Christmas parties, whatever people want to use it for. And the building can be separated into 3 smaller rooms. Mm-hmm. But we will have a 12-foot porch, as you can see on the rendering, that is beautiful. And we can have people do their little receptions or appetizers or whatever outside on that porch. And then also during the fair, people like to sit and watch people, and they can sit under the porch out of the sun. And then hopefully inside, we're going to have a nice electric fireplace with the stone that matches and for weddings. And we'll have a dressing room for brides and the grooms. We're going to also have a kitchen with warming ovens, prep tables, granite tabletops. It'll be absolutely beautiful. And then there'll be a balcony for the DJ, and then an area for dancing. And it will also seat 450 to 500 people. So we don't have anything really around the area that is more than 300. And that will also bring people, because they're always looking for a venue or a place to have things. So at round tables, we can seat that. And then with our concerts, we'll have the portable concert stage. And then, a lot more people can be in there if they're not seated at tables, just in chairs or whatever, with dancing again. But the sponsorship opportunities will be on the website, and they have been, and that's rosscountyfair.com. And it tells for partnerships, different levels. And we also wanted to end with a community level, only because that's 1,000 and under. And we wanted people to realize that anyone can give. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, because it all adds up, and we appreciate anything anyone can give. And we've had little 4-H clubs give us $25. Mm-hmm. I've had kids give me $5. Oh. And another thing you need to know is all sponsors, anyone that gives money, their name will go on the plaque. Okay. And in 30 years, they can say, I helped build this building.
Yeah. Of course, there's always people say, well, why don't you do it? Well, one thing you've told me that you also have sought out grants. Mm-hmm. There's so much money that had been coming into the Appalachian. You've tried that. You're still trying that. Mm-hmm. So they're hitting all the bases, folks, but they need our help as well in the community to help out with anything that you can give to this, what looks like will be a very worthwhile project.
And also with people sponsoring, we do have the partnership level where your name can go on the building, and we would love to partner with someone for that. Another nice thing that we have added to the giving is you can pledge anything that you give over a 5 or 10 year period, so that you can budget that in, and that way you know how much each year you're giving us. And if you want your name on that building, you give us a call.
All right. And again, all of this information can be found on their website, which is rosscountyfair.com. Sandy Free, Gary Prater, good to see you again, and hopefully we'll stir up some giving for this project.
Thank you, Mike.
Pray we do. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
They've been our guests today on the special edition of Litter Media Live, brought to you today by Hometown Motors Incorporated. I'm Mike Smith.